Recently, I did a review of the adaptation by Marvel Comics for 2001: A Space Odyssey that was written and drawn by Jack Kirby. And a lot of that video was just really to show how impressive his work was, especially in a larger format. So I thought I'd do one more Kirby-related video, and this is to review Jack Kirby's Fantastic Four, the world's greatest artist edition book that came out in 2017. I think the hardest thing to do with this video that I kind of struggled with is to kind of show scope, because this artist edition is done twice the size, the original size of the artwork, which is 11 by 17. And so just to kind of give size comparisons, this is a regular size comic book. Shout out to Kevin Delgado. This is a current version of the Marvel Treasury Edition. This is my copy of Chris Ware's monograph, which I actually got the signed version. It's a very large book, very heavy. This is Ed Piskor's Studio Edition, large, heavy book. And this is the world's greatest artist edition. And how this book is set up, it's a very heavy book, very well made, and papers are great, is that the first half are complete issues with original art, and the second half are pages from various issues, pinups, whatever. You have a nice introduction by Joe Sinnott, who inked a lot of his work during the Fantastic Four years, I think almost all of it. And what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to go just page by page, because one of the things that I mentioned in that video where he did the adaptation of 2001: A Space Odyssey is that Kirby's art looks better, bigger. I mean, people always talk about the power of Kirby's art. It looks great as a comic book size, it looks better as a Marvel Treasure Edition, but it really shines in this. I mean, I think that his art could probably be blown up to the size of murals, like covering buildings, and it would lose nothing. His art is, everybody talks about the style, where, what is a squiggly line mean? Is that really a kneecap, whatever? I think it loses something when you get it down to the size of a comic book this big, as opposed to being the original art this big. So I just selected some pages. I was going through it. Just kind of want to show off some of the work that's here. So this is an issue, I think 33. Yeah, 33. And one thing about the original artwork that's interesting is that Alan Moore had a video once where he said that he believed that Jack Kirby was really the writer of all these stories, and that what Stan did was take the plot and just put more thous and forsooths. That's like his quote. And, but if you have to see the original art, but when you go through this, especially here, you'll see little notations here and here, and on the bottoms and the sides where Jack is saying, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. So there is, I think, at least a pretty good, decent amount of credence about that, where he's plotting it, maybe not writing it, but he's plotting it. So this is where Lady Dorma, Submariner's former flame, appears. There's great panels here with Atuma trying to take over Atlantis. And you see here more Fantastic Four. He's talking about these comments here. There's comments here. They get cut off a little bit because they're reprinted, but I would love to see the original art and see all the comments. But you can even still decipher some of it. More art here. Here, let's check this out. Oh, here's a Kirby collage. Now, they tell you this is not from the original art, but they did a nice job of reprinting the undersea collages, these collages that Jack Kirby was famous for as well. Let's see what we got here. Kirby's also known for doing a lot of very powerful, he's known for his power and energy. But there's a scene where, after everything ends here, Human Torch, Johnny Storm comes home, kind of bored. He's calling his girlfriend. His girlfriend kind of blows him off. So he can do these quiet moments really well. But you can tell what's going on with the storytelling. And this is where also he meets Crystal. And one thing that I like about Kirby also is that, I remember one time a criticism I heard about John Byrne was that all his females seemed to look the same. But you see, like here, he draws Crystal with a wider face, almond eyes, higher arched eyebrows, and he would draw Sue. He took good care, and he was always consistent with how she looked. It's a little thing, but you know, Sue looks one way, Alicia Mass looks another way, Crystal looks a different way, and I think that's just testament to like how good he was and how clever he was as far as making sure that everything looked different. This is one of the fantastic cars. Just one, and I love these things that Kirby would do where there's just one panel on the whole page. And it wasn't even a splash page, just to show all this action. You know, this is just a great thing where they're flying, you're underneath, you're looking underneath, you can see three members are flying, these lines denoting movement, just really cool perspective. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Oh, famous scene with Black Bulb taking the crown from Maximus, who tried to take over the land of the Inhumans. And Kirby was also good at doing this, just 3 panels and then bammo. This huge panel right here taking up most of the page. Let's see what else we got. Oh, this book has interspersed these pinups. This is a Fantastic Four pinup. Sorry that it's sideways. And on the other side, it's a Dr. Doom pinup. Very nice paper. See what else we got. And you see like Sue, how her hair is different, her eyebrows aren't as arched, her face is a little thinner, she has more defined cheekbones, she doesn't have the baby fat kind of look that Crystal has because she's young. Just little minor details, but they make for just, it's one of those things that, you know, like unless you're looking for it, you're not going to really notice it, but it makes it look more believable. And then here you go, here you have all this power here. You have 2 panels, you know, just big large panels here, and how they have this white here just to kind of like show emphasis. And then here, this is second half of the book where you talk about all the covers, and then art gallery interior pages. You get pages from Fantastic Four 11, Fantastic Four 3. It tells you who did the inks. It's very complete. So let's look here. Oh, here we go. Iconic cover. Really cool. Just love all this perspective and all this energy that's happening here. Another iconic cover. Always looks good. Always draws the Silver Surfer really well. And here you got the Human Torch just blasting into this crypt, and the famous Kirby heads. You know, that guys like Liefeld, you know, they also did homages to, and just this thing of movement where the Human Torch looks like he's 3D, he's coming right at you. This is great. Black Bolt and the Fantastic Four. You got the Kirby Crackle, the Kirby Dots. This is back in the day when the humans hardly ever showed up, but when you knew when they showed up, it was like a big deal. You know, and then they tried to like make them the new X-Men. It didn't work, and it kind of killed that era of mystery and luster. In issue 16 here, you have the white, pure white around him to denote energy. I wonder if we've seen that before recently. Simple cover. This is Sue when she was in her maternity phase, when she would wear like that little skirt thing that covered the pants. But this is just really cool. Let's see what we got here. Oops, sorry. Oh, this is an iconic cover. Well, actually, there's 2 of them. Here's one with the Watcher and the Silver Surfer. You got all the Kirby Crackle, Kirby Dots, all of this. It just looks great. And then here you have a famous cover with 3 members of Fantastic Four going to this Thor, Daredevil, and Spider-Man. It's cool to see a Jack Kirby Daredevil and Jack Kirby Spider-Man. More crackle, more energy. Let's see what we got here. Oh, let me see what we got here. Oh, here you see like more of those notes, even though they're cut off because they're scanned. But you see here included in this fold out are these from Annual 2, these pinups. And you see how Sue is drawn differently, as I mentioned, from Crystal. And then here we have Ben Grimm, Mr. Fantastic. Very cool stuff. And I always loved these when I was a kid, when I used to read the reprints, like when they would actually lay out the Baxter building. I mean, it's just really impressive that Kirby could think of doing all this stuff and kind of have it where it's at least kind of makes sense. There's from Fantastic Four 3, and you can see where his art is more defined and developed later on, but you see this is very early as far as not Kirby's art per se, but how he's drawing the Fantastic Four. What do we got here? I always like this panel, this cool perspective where they're all lying backwards and they're flying through space, but this whole thing where it looks, you can see all the members, just great composition. Let me see. Early Fantastic Four, this is when they meet up and fight the X-Men. This is the old school X-Men costumes, which I enjoy seeing. Because, you know, Kirby, the only guys I've ever seen that make these costumes look cool are Jack Kirby and Ed Piskor. Got more stuff going on. You got Daredevil here. Very cool. Always like seeing Kirby Daredevil because he's one artist known for drawing Daredevil. Splash page featuring the Black Panther. What else we got here? There's so much stuff. Here he draws Alicia Masters. You see Alicia Masters has a different face, as Sue's face is different. Just really like nice attention to detail there. And then at the end is a bio of Jack Kirby and the end papers. And very solid book. So I hope you like this walkthrough. These were until recently available on IDW's site. I checked a couple days ago and they are out of stock. I got this brand new, and my LCS at the time before they closed up gave me a really great price and discount on this. And I've had it for 4 or 5 years. And this is one of those things that you can only bring out like every once in a while. You just can't have it laying around. I mean, it's heavy, it takes up a lot of space. I mean, unless you have the space, which a lot of us don't. But it's really cool just to kind of look at it. As I said, I gained a real appreciation for his art when I saw it this large, because that's where it almost looks like it's 3D, like it's coming out. Even black and white without the coloring. Just looks really powerful and really dynamic. I mean, it gives you an appreciation for what he was able to do and a lot of the things that he came up with that were unique to him. I mean, look at all this detail here. Old school Watcher with that like Greek kind of skirt thing and the boots. Just chaos. And it's amazing that he was able to draw these things, not ink them, but he was able to pencil these things. He did 4 books a month. So he did like a 22, 23 page comic in a week. That's like, it boggles the mind a bit. So as I said, if you are a Kirby fan though, and you really like his work, and you know you want to spend the money and all that, this is something that's really interesting to get. As I said, it retail for $150. I didn't pay nearly that much. I got this 4 years ago. I think it was $125, and then IDW raised the price to $150. And I keep remember thinking it was like $125, and then when it first came out, and then now you're gonna have to buy it on either find it in the wild or buy it on eBay or something. It's just great stuff. But if you're a big fan of his and you really want to get an idea of like how cool it is to see his art, like original art size, you definitely should get this. You know, I usually don't like to cover a lot of big 2 books, but I think there's always an exception for Jack Kirby. Thanks.